Hey guys, welcome to Doc Talk. I'm your host, Owen Jones. I'm here with Jason Parrott. We're doing episode 2. Episode 2, we thought we'd bring in some more relevant information to our audience. So today we're going to be talking a little bit more about, summer lifestyle and specifically 4th of July. So with that, we wanted to start, something personal to us that we just accomplished. We just had our grand opening ceremony, ribbon cutting ceremony here at our new headquarters. And, it was a fantastic day. We had a bunch of different business owners from the area, a bunch of people that contributed to the building and that process. And I think kind of to go off what our last episode talked about, our background, the business's background, talk a little bit more about, the humble beginnings, right? And where we came from, where we're headed. And so I think that was sort of, at least for me, I don't know, Jason, you can chip in, but it was sort of a, surreal moment from where we started. And for those of you that don't know, we didn't touch on it that much, but so Jason and I started working out of a dilapidated warehouse and quote unquote office. And I say it like that because it was about as rudimentary as you could get and still consider it office space.
It was dirty. It was grungy. Yeah. It creaked. It cracked. It was hot in the summer and it was cold in the winter.
Yeah.
And we've come a long way.
Yes, we have a new facility here. We're based in central Wisconsin, and the company's been around since 1987. But as we like to say, we're more like a startup in terms of how we operate and just our philosophy. I think as a core business, how we plan on scaling the company and that sort of thing. So I think the grand opening was really just kind of all of those things coming full circle.
Awesome event. We had, like you mentioned, we had contractors here. We had other businesses throughout the area. It was a great show of support for us and gave us an opportunity to talk a little bit more about our story because, we felt all along that is important, that people understand that what they see today just didn't happen in a couple of weeks. It was a painful journey, but the pain was well worth it. Taught us a lot, and we've learned a lot from it. So,
yeah, and that's really what it comes down to is small business is stressful, right? It's dangerous, it's stressful, it's all those things. And yeah, for a little bit there, we and I think in my speech, I was thinking about this actually this morning, maybe it was last night, but first of all, when we installed our dock, I failed to give Colton, who's behind the camera today, recognition for helping with that. So I felt bad about that. He didn't call me out on it, but I did recall in my, a day or two later, I was like, I don't think I mentioned Colton, who definitely helped. So thank you, Colton. But I also kind of failed to thank, you did more of the thanking in that speech on the grand opening or whatever, but obviously, JP and I are brothers here. We've been here from the beginning, and nobody knows it as well as Jason and I, for good or for bad, I guess. And I think it was a mutual trust thing, right? I trusted you with your part of it, and you trusted me that
absolutely
the changes I was making were going to work out, and I think after 12 months, you and I were a little shaken on that trust, maybe. But it worked out, and we held true to it. So, and we came out the other side. So,
yeah, there definitely were times where your ideas, obviously, I respected them. I didn't always necessarily agree with them, but I mentioned at the grand opening, I feel. You're a modern day Renaissance man, and that should make a lot as sense.
Yeah, no, I very much take that.
You embrace that role.
I absolutely take that as a feather in my cap. and to be fair, Jason is also. So, I mean, to be fair,
I'm a little more by the book.
you're an operations guy at heart, but you still get it,
Definitely.
And so anyway, that's what got us here. And so thank you to you, Jason, and to everybody that's helped make this obviously happen. That being said, I want to pivot now. We were talking today. We want to talk 4th of July specifically. I would call it my Super Bowl. It's probably my favorite holiday.
Summer Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, who doesn't like, midsummer, anybody that's, grown up fishing, lake life, skiing, whatever it may be. 4th of July is your Super Bowl, right? So, I mean, I have a lot of, nostalgia to it for sure. And you know how that is. Like, you always look back in the past, you only remember the best parts, which I'm totally fine with. But specific to 4th of July, I mean, obviously, like, grilling out is like the first thing that, we're both foodies.
Oh, yes.
So grilling out's the first thing that, the smells and flavor and the whole experience of grilling out is kind of like very nostalgic.
Get to the grocery store early because
it's all gone.
It's all gone.
It's twice as much and it's all gone.
Start buying now. If there was any advice.
Yeah, I agree with
go
that,
get it
actually.
now.
If you want to get anything that's decent anyway. So, a couple weeks ago, we were exchanging texts, and I also did with my father about, it was a nice, one of the 7 or 8 nice days that we get a year here. And, we all decided without communicating with each other that we were going to do barbecue ribs. And so the backstory here is Jason and I and my dad Casey, we all have Traegers, and I'm sure viewers are going to have opinions about their
which brand.
Yeah, which brand to go with, and that's fine. We know some of the guys from Traeger, so there's a little bit of loyalty there.
Definitely.
And it's been a mutually beneficial relationship with Traeger. So that being said, we all, went on our way to do our ribs, and all 3 of us decided we would do the classic, if you're in that world, the classic 3-2-1, which is basically low heat at 3 hours, wrapped at 2 hours, same low heat, and then 1 hour unwrapped with barbecue sauce. That's the gist of it.
Yep.
You're more of a jazz guy when it comes to that. You go outside the lines.
Guy.
Yeah.
Internal temperatures.
Yeah. So
I'm watching most of the time.
I would say confidently Jason has more of a knack for it than I have. But I still have a passion for
process.
Food. Yeah, I do trust. And that could be some of my wife coming out, cuz my wife will burn muffins black if it says they're supposed to be in there 18 minutes. It says 18 minutes. It's staying in there for 18. They're burning. It's very by the book. So there's some influence there for sure. But so anyway, long and short of it is, we didn't communicate post, the post dinner, we'll call it,
right,
from this process.
Nope.
And I didn't realize till the next day. My dad texted me. He's like, my ribs didn't turn out. They were, tough as jerky, blah, blah, blah. And then, ironically, Jason texted me the same, or no, we were in the office,
yep,
and you told me the same thing. And me of all people, if you knew the backstory with how good my father and Jason are at this kind of thing, for me to be the one to come out with the good ribs it's a miracle.
Owen's
honestly.
ribs were perfect.
They were.
Mine, my dog didn't want to eat them, so
yeah.
Didn't go very well.
You were chewing on them like a dinosaur.
Right. But I felt really good when I found out Casey did the same thing.
Yeah.
With the
Misery loves company.
Basically the same ribs, bought at the same place. We won't mention that, but
wait, didn't we all buy them at the same place?
We all bought them at the same place.
Yeah, so it really was we started at the same starting line with same grills, mind you.
The gist of it is your dad and I started to panic because we couldn't get our internal temperature above 180 degrees.
Yeah.
And I think where we made our mistake is you start to get in that panic mode and you keep opening up that lid and checking.
That's 100%.
And all that heat escapes every time you do it. And then you do it once and say, I'm just going to let them go another half hour. Well, in 8 minutes, you're back out there doing it again.
Yeah.
And then in 6 minutes, you're out there doing it again. Well, by the time you're done checking all those temps, you've let all that hot air out of there.
It's tough to be,
Yep.
To have that self-control when you think you're kind of losing control of it. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, with 4th of July, I mean, I'm assuming, do you guys host a bunch of people?
We have in the past. We're a lot more low key now because, my children are 18 and 21, so we don't always control their movements, and they usually have plans. But my wife and I, we
friends.
Yeah, we're a little more low key now, but maybe the neighbors, something like that. But the days of the big 4th of July parties, I think, are beyond us.
Sure.
But,
yeah.
So people that are doing that, give them credit. It's a lot of planning.
So to go off that, because obviously when you're doing ribs, you're typically, you're trying not to. At least in my family, we're not trying to feed a huge group of people with ribs.
Right.
So it's typically, burgers and brats kind of thing. So that's my 4th of July. Burgers and brats is kind of like our thing.
I would say that.
I'd say that's most people at this point. I mean, do you do like the, like in Wisconsin, we boil brats in beer.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people know this at this point, but.
Yeah, and the brand is a real big deal because sometimes you can boil brats and you end up with something about a third of the size that you bought. When you talk to the experts about grilling a bratwurst, like the owner of the founder or CEO of Johnsonville, he doesn't believe in parboiling prior to grilling. He says just put them on there out of the package and turn frequently.
Yeah.
Even though we all know that the flame ups are really harsh doing that, but that is the
it's funny you
true
say
method.
That. So you the flame up comment. So this is very, very close to my heart here. So we do. So on my dad's side of the family, you know this, but we have a basically my brother, my father's two brothers and him own this cabin up north, and so the tradition has been since way before I was around. We go up and we do these picnics. So we do Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, and obviously the 4th is kind of the big one, right? That everybody goes to, but really it's a pretty good turnout for each. And my dad's gotten in the habit of buying the bacon and cheddar patties.
Yeah.
I don't know, his. So I'll just
like
say
an accelerant.
His are from His are from
Like a
Sam's
fire
Club.
starter.
It's so bad. It's so there's no mosquitoes around for the whole dinner, which is great. We've smoked them out of the whole city, but I always tell him can you not bring those here?
Yeah.
We're cooking on, so up there we're using the old school Weber coal, which is still, I love that. Super iconic, great flavor. But, I mean, it's a fire hazard for sure.
My goodness.
Every time, and Owen, you got it. You're going to cook these. And it's come on, man. Set me up for failure. And no one wants to cook on the grill I'm on.
Right.
Because they're going to get charred and everything else. And it's cooking at 900 degrees and melting the bottom or something
High
crazy.
heat, those kettle grills, high heat. And that's
it's crazy.
difficult.
Yeah, it's interesting. So that brings me to another one. So, I mean, obviously, you think 4th of July, the next thing, grilling, the next thing is obviously fireworks. I mean, were you guys big firework family?
Definitely. Growing up.
Yeah. Were you guys like the little street ones, like the little pop, 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 or were you blowing stuff up?
Well, it just really depended, I guess, on my dad's mood at that time. There was years where he would go gung-ho and buy a whole bunch of them, and some that were obviously illegal that we would all have fun with. But
yeah, the illegal ones were the good ones.
That's the best. Yeah, the ones that really get up there and get everybody a little nervous.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of varied throughout the years. And then when raising children when they're small, more of the less intimidating ones, I guess, were more appropriate at that time.
The little hand sparklers and that kind of stuff. That stuff's a blast for sure. Yeah, that's interesting. We were talking earlier, that guy that had, he messaged us, I think it was last summer.
Oh yeah, that was last year.
Yeah, so he bought one of our all aluminum docks and tested the strength with an 80 ounce. I think it's 80
M80
ounce.
or something. Yeah,
mortar or whatever.
Mortar of some kind. And
Yeah,
blew
he
a hole right through it.
blew a hole right through the of the aluminum decking. He pitched it in the beginning as something happened.
Yes.
This is the week after 4th of July.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, we know what happened. We see the black charring around it. You blew a hole in your dock, So that being said, I mean, do we recommend you launch fireworks from
It's something
dock
I would
surfaces?
avoid. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something I would avoid.
I think the temptation is you're over water.
Yeah. And it's
So in theory, you're like, it's safer.
Safer.
And that, I mean, there's something to be said about that, I guess. But I think in general, solid ground is probably where you want to be.
sometimes just not enough space out there either if something does
Especially if
happen.
people are on it.
Yeah.
Definitely don't want people on it.
It's congested.
Yeah, that's how
And
how
it's at
accidents
night
happen.
and you're on a
Yeah.
platform above water,
Yeah.
shooting off fireworks. A
Yeah.
lot of things can go wrong.
Yeah. Are you guys? So my family is a huge tradition family. So whatever it may be, there's a lot of them. Like obviously the picnic thing, but then so for 4th of July, what we do, and this is like a coming of age thing. When you turn 12 years old, so the year you turn 12 years old, we, without any indication it's going to happen, you are basically kidnapped and brought down to the dock, and there's like everybody rushes down, there's cameras or whatever, there's video evidence of it happening to me, all my and you're thrown into the lake.
Whether you can swim or not. Is that verified first?
That's a good question.
Are there any questions asked?
I've never asked. I've thrown a few people in. I didn't ask. You just hope for the best. When I was thrown in, it was at night. So it was, we were sitting around a campfire.
Traumatizing.
Yeah. Well, at 12 years old, I mean, nobody likes to swim through, lily pads and weeds.
I still don't.
But I still don't either. But when you're 12, you're terrified of it.
Oh my goodness.
And naturally, I think, my uncle knew this. And so
Which uncle threw you in?
it was Paris. Yeah. Yeah. And it seemed to me like they specifically targeted the lily pad area.
Oh.
Because that's where I landed.
That's where the launching took place.
Fully clothed in the night, So so much for s'mores, I
Oh
guess.
my goodness.
Yeah. Do you guys have any weird traditions? Like,
Our
that one's
traditions
maybe a
growing
little
up
weirder.
Was a
than-
lot of old style and Blatz and Schlitz beer. That's probably the traditions we had growing
Yeah.
up in the UP.
Yeah, that's funny.
Cheap hamburgers, cheap hot dogs.
We
some
get 9
fireworks,
days
and
this
cheap
summer.
beer.
You guys get 4.
Yeah, maybe if we're lucky.
It's like 1.5 weekends. Yeah, that is tough.
I just remember a lot of stress. Where I grew up, most of our relatives were living in communities 20, 30, 40 miles away. So there was always some commute
Yeah.
to my parents' place or at a state park. And
Yeah.
it was just I just remember a lot of stress. My mom always stressed out because she was generally planning it all. And I can remember years where somebody would blow a tire on their way or somebody would fall ill, but there always seemed to be some kind of stress. But we made it through.
So you mentioned a bunch of cheap beers. What's your go-to 4th of July refreshment?
I mean, years ago, I love craft beer.
Yeah.
We both have that in
I
common.
do like craft
We
beer.
love craft beer.
Yes.
So I've definitely have transitioned more to quality over quantity.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Now I've started to really enjoy the diet Arnold Palmer.
Yeah, so what's your trick
mixed.
now that you do?
So it's
This is a good idea, folks.
So I will buy the 1 gallon container of the Arizona Light Arnold Palmer mix, and I'll pour out like a half a cup or a cup and replace that with vodka and give it a good shake. Put the cap on, and you're all
Hit
set
the
to go.
road.
Hit the road. And actually, we did that last night at the Concerts on the Square. Not with the full jug. We put it in a smaller jug.
Sure
We
you
didn't want to
did.
look too out of place.
Yeah.
But that's real handy. Then you fill a Yeti with ice that holds ice for a long period of time. And
Name drop.
and the only thing we add to that is we take a lime wedge, and squirt that in, give it a good mix. And the other thing I learned about a Yeti is if you close them tight, you can shake them right in
Yeah.
there without spilling. So it's pretty slick.
It is slick, yeah. So Yeti, I mean, thank you for your sponsorship.
Yes.
That's not true.
We do buy a lot of them, though.
We do like.
We
our
have some
Yetis.
Father's Day Yetis coming.
We do, yeah. Actually, good point. Yeah, Father's Day's around the corner. We're doing a deal. You know, with a minimum purchase, you get like a Yeti dad
It's like a $10,000 minimum purchase. Right, Colton?
10,000. You get a free $40 Yeti. I mean, it's unbeatable, really. It is funny though, because we noticed the other day, Colton and I actually, that Yeti was actually doing a similar thing with their own product.
Yes.
And our sale was actually better. So either they have really low margins or we're really aggressive. I don't know. But
I noticed that. I received an email, my personal email, about
Yeah.
a Father's Day promotion.
yeah, I mean, are you everything Yeti? Are you like the Yeti? Like, are you in the cult, or do you go outside that a little bit?
No, I don't go outside of that.
Okay.
I have to say their products are quite amazing.
I remember
Robust
when you
and
when you got
strong.
your first Yeti cooler, the joke was that it was on the mantle at your house.
Yes.
You don't need artwork when you have a Yeti, kids.
I don't even know if they sell that one, but by the time you'd put a
It was
12
the bag or whatever. Yeah.
it was, and it's not the nice clamshell. It was more of the seam style.
Yeah, the
so
seam, yeah.
Every time you'd reach in there,
just
with a
shred your
clamp,
arm.
clamp on your arm, and scratch your arm, pulling it out. And then
It's a
then
nice
I
design.
upgraded to the box style. The only problem with that is you'd put 12 bottles of beer in there, and my wife
2
couldn't pick it
cubes.
up. It was so heavy.
Yeah.
That's the one thing about their products.
Yeah.
Very great, but very,
Yeah, it's a little
very
overbuilt.
heavy, a little overbuilt.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I would say I'm kind of a. I mean, you know, I do have cheap coolers, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
But yes, I do have my favorite go-to. I got the Yeti backpack.
That's a wonderful product.
It's awesome.
I'm gonna get that from you someday.
Yeah.
You may not get it back.
Yeah, it's nice. I always bring it because now I have. So your kids are older; they can actually help you carry stuff. My kids are the opposite. So not only can they not carry anything, but they require 10 more things for each kid. So I have a newborn, as you know, and then a toddler. So she's just over 2.5. She's a Spitfire.
By age only.
Yes. 2.5 going on 20. Against all my wishes.
And I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with kids, obviously, like, you got to entertain them. So, I mean, that's the first thing. I mean, my kids are really little, so all I have to do is show my daughter some frogs or how to skip a rock, and we're good for the day. But
Yep.
when your kids are older, I mean, your kids probably, we talked about it a little bit. See, they, and every generation has, like, their game, I feel
Yes.
like, you guys had lawn darts.
Jarts, the pokey ones, yeah.
Sorry.
The ones that would
It's just
stick right in
funny.
the head
I
or the
can't
top
help
of the
it.
foot. Yeah. Injuries.
Let's
Lots
put
of
a giant spike on a weighted dart and throw it
Fling
into
it
the sky.
way in
Nothing
the
can go
air,
wrong
yeah.
here. Perfectly safe.
The bags are definitely safe for now. And this
Yeah.
new game, this what do we call it? We were just talking about it.
Colton, help.
What's it called?
What's it called?
The one I was telling you about.
Where you bopping
Slap
the ball.
in that little round spike
ball.
That's
Thank
the
you.
newest thing at the Parrot household.
He was
the
sleeping
spike
back
ball.
there, so it took a second.
It seems like a real intense workout though. Bags, you can have your little stand
Yeah.
for your drink and throw a bag.
So, I mean, I guess it depends on the game. So I like, bags, obviously everybody likes. It's a 4-person game. That's cool. That's not a lot of people that you're entertaining at one time. It's like, how many of these are you going to set up? The other problem with bags, at least like, I think about like our cabin up north, like there's not really an area that's flat and long enough
to set it up.
to do that.
Do you do bags up? Do you play bags up there?
No.
No.
We haven't. I mean, I play with my friends. We do that. We'll set it up. But you really need, lake house and flat.
Yeah.
They're not super, connected kind of atmospheres.
Right.
I feel like. But it's also really wooded for our cabin. So whatever. Bags are always a good one. I mean, Colton brought to the grand opening, he brought the Can Jam, which I don't know if you've ever played that.
No.
It's kind of, similar 2-2, and, you got a Frisbee, and it's basically like this plastic can that has a slot in it, and you obviously try to, like, Frisbee into the slot, but your other partner's on the other side, and so, like, one point is if they hit, like, so you Frisbee it, and if they can get to it and bump it into just the outside of the can, that's 1 point. They can give you an assist. Or they can slam it in, that's 2 points. Or if you get it, like, actually throw it right in, then you win. That's like the auto win. Yeah, it's a good time. I've never done the ball one.
Oh, no.
Me? Okay, I'm here.
So one of the games that I grew up, 20 years ago, was washer toss. So that business that I showed you today, the Keel Cooler entity, so they end up with these brass slugs in their manufacturing process.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a time back in the 90s where you basically take plywood 2x4s and you take a PVC cup and center it and mount it in the middle, and similar to horseshoes as far as the scoring's concerned, but there's some interesting things there too. But you throw the washer and you land it in the cup for 5, and then you land it in the box for 3, and you get a leaner, it's 2.
Okay, I have played this, I think.
1.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have that. That's the OG at our place. I made some custom boards years ago, but that's my preferred game. I don't find a lot of people that enjoy it as much as I do. But
I always liked. Have you ever played Beersby? Yeah. Have you ever played Beersby? So that's another one. That's probably a younger, like, newer thing. And so it's basically 2 rods, about, call it 25 feet apart. And you balance a beer bottle on each.
Oh, wow.
An empty beer bottle, obviously. And, again, it's like you and your opponent, your teammate and your opponent on the other side. And you Frisbee, and basically, if the bottle hits the ground, that's a point. But the other teammate can catch the bottle. So if you hit the posts, you can still catch it, and that doesn't count. I don't know all the rules. I don't.
But it's all about knocking a beer bottle off of
like a dowel. Basically,
must be
a dowel.
A Wisconsin.
It could be. Yeah. It doesn't have to be beer, folks. It doesn't have to be beer. Yeah. So okay, what were you going to say, Colton? Okay, we can Google it.
We don't play by the rules anyway.
No, we make up our rules as we go. Unless it comes to water safety.
Yes, that's another one. Water safety. Big deal this time of year. 4th of July.
Yeah.
Make sure you do a quick review of if you're going to be out there on the water. Safety vests, number 1. A throwable if your boat's over 16 feet. Those are things that are like the common
easy
infractions, easy tickets, and they will be out and about. And
they're hungry.
I mean, it's a busy time of the year. Just want to make sure you
always hear about a few stupid accidents that happen.
Yeah. Situational awareness is key out there, knowing where you're at.
It goes back to, unfortunately, you have people that only go out on the water that day or only drive a boat or rent a boat that day. So there's no muscle memory. There's no like safety recall, like I do this a lot kind of thing going on. So that can be dangerous,
The vessels are bigger, they're faster.
They are.
They can hold more people.
I mean, when I was young, like somebody with a good motor was like 25 horsepower.
Yeah.
Like that was like, oh yeah, that's solid. Now, you'd be hard pressed to find a 25 horse motor that wasn't only hand operated.
Right.
I mean, it used to be that was the default on like a pontoon.
Yep.
Now they're selling them like the lowest they'll sell them is like 115 horse or something. It's like totally different.
Outboards are massive.
Yeah, now, it's crazy.
They're fast and they're efficient. And the other thing is the boats now, they can turn on a dime. It's really
they're a lot more maneuverable. I mean, it's all good things, obviously, but if you're inexperienced, keep your eyes peeled, obviously, especially if you have kids.
Yeah, be safe.
The other thing, weird thing, but this has become more like I've read about it a little more recently, is carbon dioxide inhalation from behind the boat.
Yeah, being towed or on the wakeboarding or whatever.
I think like we have our new drop stitch pad or whatever, and obviously we don't want you to tow it. the intention is that you just tie it up to a boat or near it, but people are using these things
as a towable.
As a toll, maybe just at slow speeds,
But they're right
but
back
they're
there.
right behind it.
Yep.
And there's been a lot more crazy accidents with, and what parents or supervising adults fail to realize is you may be fine at 35, 40 years old, but your 6-year-old can't handle nearly as much that as you can.
And sometimes they don't even know. They just smell a gas exhaust of some kind and
think it's normal.
It's normal. Yeah.
Because it is the, you're not going to be able to smell it. So, I mean, it just, you can't emphasize it enough. I mean, you really have to be.
And let's talk about it. We, obviously the growth of our business is, a lot of it is because of how much waterfront property is being scooped up out there.
Yeah.
Property owners that were taking at once was a 200 foot or 100 foot of frontage and dividing it up. There's more people on the water.
Yeah.
10, 15, even 10 years ago, what was a small lake with not as many people, there's now in some cases, there's twice the amount of properties on some lakes and twice the amount of activity.
Right. Yeah. What used to be able to scoop up 300 feet.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Now it's 33 and a third.
Yeah, whatever the minimum is to hit, and that's everybody's parcel. Basically, you can put a dock slip.
Yeah.
And back out a boat or whatever. And we're seeing that too. That's where you're seeing laws change with lake frontage, square footage allowed of the dock that's out there.
How far out in the water?
How far out you can go, like we've run into it, Lake Minnetonka specifically, to call out a lake. They limit on the amount of lifts. I think they only allow one
lift.
So, now these shore ramps and stuff have become really popular because they're sort of a workaround, where you're not inconveniencing other.
More of a portable type of option versus the lift, which essentially is removed in most parts at the end of the year. But once you put them in,
you're
not moving them the rest of the season.
Let's be honest, it's there.
But these ramp type of products are nice in that they can maneuver them, change locations.
Yeah.
When they're not in use, they can pull them up on shore or put them by their boathouse.
Which is great because we happen to have one coming out soon.
Yeah.
So
we do.
All right.
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah. So I'm going to wrap it up. I don't want to take too long. Appreciate you guys, tuning in for a second episode. We're going to obviously start to bring on some guest speakers and that kind of thing that are industry experts in boating and fishing and all kinds of stuff, outdoor living. But we appreciate you tuning in today, and please subscribe on our YouTube page or on Apple Music or Spotify. And as always, this will live in the navigation on our website, TommyDocs.com. So
thanks everybody.
Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it.
Have a happy 4th of July.
Yeah. Happy 4th.